When I was a kid, I loved Santa. What kid doesn't? Christmas mornings were always the highlight of the year. I remember running to the Christmas tree, excited to open my presents. I also remember writing letters to Santa as soon as I knew how to write, happily telling him what a good girl I've been, and asking him for presents that I wanted. My parents were quite cool with my interest with Santa, helping me pen the letters and delivering them. During the holiday season, they would bring me to the nearby mall so I could talk to Santa. It was the only time during the year when I could do so. To me, back then, Santa was real. His presents every year were good enough proof for me. Until the year my parents died. I was 6 years old then. They had gone out for Christmas shopping, leaving me with a babysitter. The memory of that night is still fresh with me. The image of 2 uniformed police knocking on my door. The shocked look of my babysitter. Life was never the same after that. With no close relatives who were willing to take care of me, I was placed in foster homes, living with people who are not my family. It was with the first foster family when the gifts from Santa stopped coming.
Santa isn't real,
my foster mom would tell me,
created by greedy capitalists.
When I asked her to help me send my letter to Santa, my 7-year-old mind couldn't even comprehend the word capitalist then. In my letter, I asked Santa if he could bring my parents back, because I did not like my current ones. My foster mom found what I had wrote, and in her rage she tore the letter into pieces and threw it into the dustbin. When I cried, she proceeded to cane me, calling me a heathen child. However, I never stopped believing in Santa. Every year I would try my best to be a good girl so that Santa would put me on the nice list, and each year I would write the same letter to him, telling him that I don't want any presents. I just want my parents. Every Christmas Eve night, I would quietly sneak down the stairs, hoping to see him, but I never did. Until the December when I was 11 years old. I was walking home when I passed by a convenience shop. I saw a man dressed like Santa driving to the back alley, and being the child that I was, I saw it as a chance to finally set things straight with Santa. I ran after the car without even thinking twice, toward the back alley of the row of shops. I remember calling out to him, excited as he exited the car, asking him about my wish. Boy, was I in for a rude awakening. The Santa was far from the cheery old guy that I had believed in. He was badly shaven and stank from cigarette smoke and alcohol. When I tried to talk to him, he simply pushed me away, shouting that Santa doesn't exist, before pulling down his pants and revealing a sight that I still cannot forget. He laughed mockingly when he saw my shocked face, before disappearing into one of the shops. It was then when I realized that my foster mom was right. Santa doesn't exist. When I got back home, I wrote an angry letter to Santa. I knew he was fake, but I needed a place to rant. I accused him of being a phony, a good-for-nothing liar, a fake who robs children of their hopes. I called him a bunch of other colorful language that I had picked up in school. And finally, I told him straight that he doesn't exist, and I would stop believing in a no-good liar who can't fulfill anyone's wishes. When I was done, I walked to the kitchen, turned on the stove, and set the letter on fire. To hell with Santa, I thought, feeling betrayed and lied to. Over the next few days, I spent my free time trying to spread my hurt to as many younger children as possible. I went to playgrounds and I called out loudly that Santa doesn't exist. I remember going to malls and pulling off the fake beards away from those Santas. I made more than a few kids cry, something that I was extremely proud of. If I can't have Santa, no one could. Christmas Eve eventually came, and I remember lying in the bed, looking at the ceiling in the dark, thinking about my first Christmas night where Santa stopped being real for me. I had wanted to fall asleep, to get over and done with Christmas that year, but there was an uneasy feeling inside me that prevented me from closing my eyes. I don't know how long I laid in bed with my eyes awake, but a knocking sound on my bedroom door jolted me upright. I sat up and stared at the door, wondering if my mind had made that noise up. And then it came again. 3 quick knocks on the door. "Mom? Dad?" I tried calling out, my voice a whimper, hoping that it was my foster mom and dad outside. What came next, however, was a low, guttural voice, one that was filled with malice. "Ho, ho, ho." The voice drifted through the dark towards me, and I felt a chill run down my back. Going into panic mode, I shouted for my foster mom and dad. "Mom! Dad!" No reply. There was no sound coming from the room next to mine. No acknowledgement. Only the silence and the dark remained constant. I called out again, one more time, this time more desperate. "Mom! Dad! Come over here!" Tears were beginning to run down my face. And then I heard it again. Slower, louder, as if the voice were coming from the walls behind me. "Ho! Ho! Ho!" Followed by 3 loud knocks on the door, each getting progressively louder. Not knowing what else to do, I covered myself with my blanket, trembling underneath. I was crying like a baby, out of full terror, repeatedly calling for my foster parents. As I hid underneath my blanket, I heard the sound of the doorknob turning, followed by the sound of the door slowly creaking open. I wrapped myself tighter with my blanket as the sound of heavy footsteps headed towards me, stopping only inches from my bed.
"You have been a real naughty girl, Jill. Trying to tell people I don't exist,"
came the voice above me, dragging each word in a low, eerie tone. My whole body felt goosebumps as soon as I heard them. My eyes shut tight, hoping that it would go away. I called for my foster parents again in one last desperate attempt for help. The voice laughed mechanically when I did that.
"Oh, don't worry. You don't have to worry about them any longer.
It gloated.
In fact, I brought your real parents instead."
As soon as he finished his sentence, a pang of disgusting smell hit my nose, causing me to gag beneath my blanket. I heard the sound of feet dragging across my floor, also stopping inches from me. Then I felt a warm breath, not far from me. The gagging smell almost overpowered my senses. And then,
"Jill,
the voice that came
our
next
baby girl,
made me freeze.
How have you been doing?"
"Jill? Our baby girl? How have you been doing?" It was the voice of my parents, my biological parents, speaking in perfect unison. It sounded like them, but at the same time it didn't. Their voices were raspy, distorted, and draggy, like they were having to use a tremendous effort just to speak to me.
"Look, I even brought back your parents, just to fulfill your wish.
the first voice said. I resisted the urge to peek out of my blanket, feeling that it was the last thing keeping me safe from whatever that was standing beside me. It was then when I felt two bony hands touch my back, followed by the raspy voice of my parents. Jill, follow us. I don't know what came over me next. Perhaps it was my survival instinct kicking in, but I screamed with all my might as I pushed away the hands, jumped from my bed, and dashed straight for the bedroom door. In that fleeting moment, I caught a glimpse of 3 figures in my room. The decaying corpse of both my parents, their skin peeling horribly off, revealing their bones beneath, kneeling just right beside my bed. The towering figure in red, his skin all wrinkled, his beard disheveled, but what stood out the most in the room of darkness was how his eyes glowed red. I dodged them all as I ran to the door, down the staircase and out to the street, to my opposite neighbors. I shrieked and yelled as I banged their front door, and luckily for me, they were still awake, counting down to Christmas. When the police finally arrived, they found my foster parents dead in their bedroom, each with a stab wound to their chest. The police noted it down as a robbery case gone wrong, given how the back door was left open with signs of belongings missing. But I knew better. Even though it's been years now since the incident, I still lock myself in my room every Christmas Eve, with the lights turned on, terrified that Santa may just knock on my door again. Alright, my lovely lilies, thank you so much for watching the new video. If you can, hit that subscribe and like button, comment below and tell me your thoughts. Also, don't forget to tap the little notification bell so you're always in the know on this channel. As well, guys, you can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and always you can hit me up in my emails. Feel free to send me your stories, whether they're fiction or totally true. I'm always up for some great stories. And oh, by the way, until next time, sweet dreams.